Broken Slang, how are you today?
I'm good, man. I'm good. How about you?
Oh, I'm good, living life to the fullest. Today, I wanted to talk to you about modern feminism. So, I just wanted to first start off by explaining what I mean by modern feminism. So, as you all know, the feminism movement's been around for decades now. It was started by the suffragette movement, and the main thing was they wanted to have rights, women rights to work and to vote. They basically wanted equality. And I want to fast forward to the modern times in the Western world. The Western world is America, Australia, New Zealand, Europe, these places. And the biggest issue I have with modern feminism is it doesn't seem to be more about equality, it's more about supremacy, it's more about hatred. And when you compare that to what it was supposed to be about equality, and you look at the rights women have in the Western world, you see that there might not actually be a need anymore for this. Yes, in America and stuff, you still have issues like gender based violence, you still have issues like the R word, which I can't say, so I'm just going to call it rape.
Yeah.
So, all of these issues, so I understand that, but what's your take on the modern feminist movement, especially how it is in the modern world? Not the modern world, sorry, the Western world.
Honest with you, I feel like people are using that term in a very how must I put this lightly?
Just
They're
keep it
using
clean.
it. Yeah. I know. Hey, they're using it. They're using it in a way that the way how must I explain this, man?
Say
Like
it
they're using it
nicely.
in a way that they're using it in a way where they accuse themselves as victims everywhere they go. And in my eyes, that's wrong because not every man or everyone is a feminist. And you can't go into this world thinking that. Because, in my opinion, that's what I think most of the Western people see the world or see most men as feminists. And like, I'm trying to pick my words so carefully because this is such a
Then you
such a
end up
touchy
like Andrew
topic.
Tate.
Yeah, exactly. But let's be honest. Let's be real for one moment. Stuff that and the stuff that Andrew Tate says, it makes sense, but the way he says it, it's kind of if you know what I
Yeah.
understand, it's
He makes
kind of
sense, but
iffy.
his way of saying it is a little bit out there.
Yes, exactly. Like
Well,
this is one video I saw where these two women were fighting about if if this world needs men. And this one lady was like, "No, we don't need men anymore because we can make babies. Girls can make other girls pregnant through their bone marrow, and this." And then this other lady was like, "Hey, yo, okay, if we don't need men in our life, who's gonna who's gonna be firemen? Who's gonna be plumbers? Who's gonna be construction workers? Because most females can't do those stuff. If
or
you
they don't
call, if
want
you
to.
call Exactly. If you call someone to help your car, who are you gonna call? A man, because a man knows what to do when it comes to those situations. I'm not saying girls don't know
Mm,
what to do.
yes,
All I'm saying
most of
is
the time.
men are suited for some things in this world that women aren't suited for.
For
That's what I'm
example,
trying to.
I like to first say the thing with baby marrow, unintended, bone marrow babies. That's
Yeah.
not true. That can't actually happen. They've done a lot of experiments and stuff, and the fetus would die within a few days.
The thing is, I don't know. I That's the
So,
thing.
yeah, that won't
What?
really happen. It The baby would either be born with something, and if they've tried to create embryos and stuff, the embryos died very quickly. as it wasn't able to pass the chromosomes or something. A whole lot of scientific jargon. So I
But
won't bore
then,
anybody with it.
so you
But then the
tell,
other
so
parts I
you
wanted to
know,
speak.
whoa. So you're telling me these girls are willing to have crippled babies
Rather
in
than be with
order
men.
to have, yeah, exactly, to rather deal with men. Oh
So
goodness, that
that also
is
brings me to another thing, gender roles. So for example, you will have some girls which are petrol heads and really good with cars,
yeah.
but most of the time it's a guy who's really good with that. You
Mhm.
watch the movies and stuff. When a car breaks down, who's changing the tire?
Correct.
For example, when you look at things like
Exactly.
firemen or
All people
soldiers,
are like,
police
oh,
officers,
or
and stuff like
exactly
that,
soldiers.
most
Like
of the time
men,
it's
the
men.
thing is about men, right? The thing is about men. Men are, how must I explain this? Men do things what they're supposed to do, not feel like
Yes,
doing. That's the
it's
huge
basically
difference between men and women.
yeah.
That's the huge
So
difference.
if you think about it, you'll notice from history the duty of a man has been to provide and to protect.
Hmm.
The duty of the woman is also to provide and to protect, but they deal more with taking care of the household and being mothers. Like you'll notice that many fathers, when they have a child, their work ethic goes through the roof. They put in more hours. They do more work. Some of them even work double jobs because now they have
Correct.
this new mouth to feed. And also, you notice biologically we're different. It goes
Exactly.
all the way down to our chromosomes and genes.
Mhm.
Your XX for women and your XY for men. Then even goes down to your skeletal structure.
The
Our
thing is,
bones are shaped
the thing
different.
is,
Our yeah, sorry.
what I don't understand is right. Men, like I said before, men back then, right, used to treasure women, like as in like see them as diamonds if they were
Mm,
submissive, if they were a good cook, if they were all good, the good,
qualities.
there you go, the good qualities of a woman were back then were taking care of the children. They are submissive. They take care of the household. They make sure the husband is comfortable at home when he arrives at
And in return,
back.
what will the husband do?
The husband will provide. The husband will
He will
do
provide the money, the
every
food, and he will
exactly,
also buy gifts for her.
exactly, and he is willing to risk his life for that family.
Exactly.
That's exactly. But
At that point,
these days, woman wants to do the opposite. Woman wants to provide for the family in a different way. They wanna, how must I explain it? I must use my words very carefully here. But yeah, we were saying.
so anyway, the point you made about providing, and in
Mm,
return, the man should respect the woman. So that's why if you have gender-based violence, for example, the man's in the wrong. When you have all these other instances, the man's in the wrong for doing that. And what I wanted to say is that thing of mutual respect. It also brings me into thinking of chivalry and being a gentleman.
mm,
I've seen many times on the internet that they say feminism killed chivalry because if a man will offer to open the door for a woman or something, they'll be seen as misogynistic. Oh, you don't think I can do that just because I'm a woman? And I don't think it's about that. I think it's more about the thing of mutual respect. And another thing I've noticed in the Western world a lot is traditional values are lost. For example, in a marriage, it's said that you must give 50 and your partner gives 50% to keep the relationship going.
eh,
That's not true. You must give 100% and they must give 100%. So basically, my understanding is if you want to be treated like a queen,
yeah,
behave like
treat me like
one,
a king. Yeah,
and you must be willing to treat me like a king. A
yeah.
give and a take. And the other point that you mentioned, you spoke about provide, women want to provide, blah, blah, blah. I personally don't see anything wrong with that. I say, okay, you want to do that, then you have to take the stress and all the other things that will come with that.
Yeah, but you'll bleep
Yeah.
that out. It's fine. What I want to say is, the thing is, females, they are very emotional creatures. When they are stressed out, when they are overworked, when they are stressed out and when they're overworked, they use their emotions to communicate with other people. For let me make an example. If a girl is stressed out, she's gonna take all that stress on a person. When a male is stressed out, he'll just say one or two words and get out of that situation because the man knows not to rely on his emotions. Because a guy who relies on his emotions when it comes to certain situations is not a strong man. He's a weak
Yes. So I like that thing about emotional. So, there's another thing about men must be more in line with their emotions.
man.
So on this thing,
No,
I sit on the fence. I'm on the
no.
fence with this.
On the
One
fence.
thing, one thing is right. One thing I agree with is you mustn't hold on to those. You must find a positive way to deal with those emotions.
What?
For example, what's the best
Mm,
way to deal with your anger? Go to the gym.
mm-hmm.
Take your anger out there. I use an
That's
example. You know me. I used
mm,
to not be able to control my anger. You know that.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
What happened when we started?
Ah, bro, you evolved. That's
Exactly.
you evolved.
So
But
that's one
in
thing.
my
But then
the,
also another
the
thing
thing is
is,
right. Yeah,
for
yeah, yeah. You were
example,
saying.
if a guy's going through like some severe trauma, maybe he went to the war, his best friend got killed brutally. So he has
Mm.
PTSD or he lost a loved one. Those emotions, if they bottled up, they can actually be quite um, dangerous. You'll notice a lot of your school shooters and stuff in America, for example, a lot of them will bottle up emotions because they don't have any positive outlook. So it's a responsibility for guys to be there for our friends and help them with all of that. Not that oh, not saying like oh guys must cry and all of that, but sometimes you might need to. What I'm saying is you should find positive ways of dealing with those emotions. Come to terms with it in inverted commas. Don't go take up drinking.
The thing is right. Again, Indian Mzansi. The thing is right. I'm a, if a man shows his emotions through his actions, that is you're being a child. You're not being a man. Because the way, okay, I can't say the way men are raised. The way I was raised, right?
Mhm,
If you do something right, you do it out of your full potential, not because you want to do it, not because you don't want to do it, not because you are angry and stuff like that. It's
mhm,
because you have to do it. It's because you have to do it as a man. If you do something out of emotion or through emotion, and if you do it while you're angry or sad or whatever, you are you weak. Because a man that shows emotion easily is a weak man in my eyes. Sorry for the men out there, but it's the truth. You can't just cry out of in public. You can't just like throw a glass into someone's face in a restaurant. No, that's weak, man. Be a man,
hence I
man.
say you must find a way for a positive.
Exactly, exactly, exactly.
Yeah. Now let's. Another thing I wanted to point out is I was actually reading not reading, I was watching a YouTube short, and
Mm.
it was of Andrew Tate. He used an example of an incident that happened in the US during the spring break. So there was this short kid who these five girls didn't like. They
Yeah, I
didn't
know
like
the
him
story.
because he was short and because they didn't think he was cute, he was ugly. So they all decided they wanted to ruin this boy's July holidays. So they pretended that he raped them. So
Sure.
this kid spent about 90 or 100 days. I'm not too sure. How does the beginning of Phineas and Ferb go? That's how many days of holiday they usually have in America.
4 days.
Yes, if he spent 104 days of his summer vacation, not spring break, sorry, summer vacation, under house just because they didn't like him because he was short and they saw him as ugly.
That guy could have committed suicide
Exactly.
for doing
And
something he
the
didn't.
thing is, the suicide rates in the Western world are highest amongst men. They still have their Instagram accounts. They haven't been cancelled. They got basically a slap on the wrist, like a fine or something, if I remember correctly.
I
It's
doubt that.
been
No, let's
banned.
be honest. I doubt that. Slap on the wrist. How much you wanna bet they did nothing, dude? How much you wanna bet?
They
Because
probably did something. I'm willing to bet they
those
got a fine, at least.
no ways, bro. They probably got a slap on the wrist by their parents. Because let's be honest, if a girl and she's a kid did something like that, right? In my eyes, they wouldn't do anything. But if a man did that, he would be punished in a big way
I'll use an example.
because he's a boy. Because if a boy keeps on doing that in the future, he's a dangerous human being. But if a girl keeps
Mhm.
on doing that, no one's gonna take that seriously because
Now,
she's a
put
girl.
yourself in that boy's shoes. And I also want to say one thing. If a boy is treated like that at such a young age, he's going to become an incel. And you know how violent they are. So the
But
more you have this
nah.
victim mentality and double standards pushed, you give these more extremist groups, these more violent groups, well,
Yeah, but
basically
that's the
they get
thing.
meat to work with.
That, but the thing is, that's the thing, dude. These people don't know this. People don't know what the cause of these type of things are.
Exactly.
All they see is what's happening now. They don't see the repercussions of what's gonna happen in the future because of what happens when
Exactly. And
that is
you know what? I don't know if you know Jordan Peterson.
nah.
Okay, so he's a Canadian professor
Hmm.
who's very pro, he's very anti-feminist, at least in his words, modern feminism.
Okay.
He considers himself a conservative Canadian. So he was being interviewed by a lady, and she said something along the lines of, "You tell boys that it's okay to be a man." And he responded, "It's not okay, it's necessary."
Hmm.
And he carried on to elaborate, saying that you live in a world with technology, with infrastructure, with safety, and most of the people keeping that impossible infrastructure safe and maintained is, well, us, the men. And he went on to say that that doesn't, he also says in other interviews, he says things like, you shouldn't mistreat women, blah, 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 all of that. So I like the way he speaks because he says it as it is. And that actually brings me full circle to our country, Mzansi, South Africa. In South Africa, we have a huge problem with gender based violence. A few days ago, it was the stats where about 60 women will be raped today, and
Yes. Yes.
about 15, between 15 and 30 would be killed. Those are mothers and
Um,
sisters.
culture wise, you know what culture is doing this, or what culture of women is being killed on a daily basis.
It's predominantly African.
Okay.
I think one of the worst is Zulu and Sutu, if I remember correctly, because I remember that a lot of it happens in KZN. KZN is quite a big hub, and I know Lesotho as well, and other Sutu areas also quite big. But don't quote me on this. I'm not
No, no, no.
100% sure.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
it's mostly amongst the Africans. But I know I've seen this in the Afrikaans community, seen in the Indian community in South Africa. It's fairly big. The colored community as well also has a big issue with it. So
Mhm.
I don't think we can even blame culture to an extent because it's in most of the cultures of South Africa right now. I think that
No,
I actually don't know what could be the issue when it
I
comes
I
to
have I have an idea, but I don't wanna. No one must quote me on this because I might be very, very wrong. It might touch people's
it.
hearts very, very hard.
Say it.
Uh, in South Africa, right? What I've learned, most, most loose, most, okay, let me just say most African cultures, right?
Hmm.
The men are raised in a way where they must be dominant or else he's not a man, right?
Okay.
That's okay, yes. And the woman must be submissive. If the woman is not submissive, then she can never be wifed. She'll never be wifed or never become a wife. Let me say that way. And then
Okay.
there's in some cultures where a black man needs to go to a family and buy his wife with cows
Labola.
or labola, yeah, the labola for instance, right?
Yeah.
The parents of the wife now will just accept whatever he offers, and then just give their daughter away. If
Okay.
something bad happens to the daughter, it's on her. It's on her because in the
So,
African cultural world, in my eyes, the man is always right. Don't quote me on this, guys,
okay.
please.
Yeah. No, okay.
That's what I've
So
been
you're speaking
seeing,
from
and that's what I've been told.
personal experience. Yeah, that makes sense. I
Yes.
mean, there's a person who I won't say too much, but they stay um, in our complex, in my complex, and there was an incident of abuse quite rampant. They're not South African; they're from another Southern African nation. The
Hmm. Was I
parents,
there? Was I there?
no, you went in the complex at the time. You had
Oh, well.
left.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Well, that's mad, actually. Shit.
Yeah, yeah. So the wife left, and the family never reprimanded. It was basically given a slap on the wrist. You know
Oh,
exactly what I'm talking about.
yes, I know
And then he had to go
exactly what you're talking
to
about.
and he had to get it. So I mean, that for example is a big issue. On the thing where you say the thing about dominance, usually that's how it is.
It's true, but
But the
let's be
issue that
honest.
comes up, the issue
Yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
this would bring is egos may get in the way.
There you go. That is the perfect
So
way. You
he
said
does
it in a
something wrong,
perfect
you
way.
say something that happens. But I've seen this not only in African cultures. I've seen
I
this
don't.
both in Afrikaans, amongst Afrikaners and
That
in
is true.
Indians.
That is true. That is true.
Because
I
I
feel like.
remember there was an incident a good few years back. We were in Santon. So we had like the celebration, big like parade to
Mm,
Santon. It was a
yeah, yeah, yeah.
religious thing. And we drove past and there's this lady bleeding from her skull. She had a piece of glass there and she was stopping the bleeding. She was in tears. And all you hear is somebody in the house saying stuff in Afrikaans, which I won't repeat, and making noise. So luckily we had the cops with us. So some of people in the parade they went to help her. The ambulance went and everything. And I later asked one of the guys who went to help her, and he said no. Um, she was tired and she didn't want to make coffee for him, and he got angry and broke a coffee mug on her.
See, that's what I
So
mean.
that's where the egos come into play. Second
Exactly.
is a man who has to raise he raises his hand So a woman cannot call himself a real man.
That's a boy.
It's a dishonorable man.
That's not a man. That's not a man. That's a boy. Boys eat girls. That's a boy. It's a childish mentality to raise a hand to a woman. Children
Instead
do
of
that.
using your voices. Or even do that to children unless you discipline in there. There's a big difference in discipline
Yeah,
and
but there's a
abuse.
difference. There's a
There's a
difference. There's a
huge
difference.
difference. There's a huge
Because when
difference.
we were young, when I was young, right, I was I was beaten as a child when I did something wrong, right?
And you will never
When I
do
did
that again.
something wrong, and I would never do it again. But if it comes to a girl who's been like who've been in a worse state, because girls are precious in our lives, bro. And I don't think girls know this. I feel like they do, but they're just taking advantage of it, if you know what I mean.
Yes,
Girls are precious in a man's life. And once a man realizes that, a man will a man will evolve into a human being, a man will work out, a man will focus on his mentality just to get
exactly.
his perfect life.
Yeah. And
And
all the significant other has to do is just be there,
exactly.
help with expenses and all that, and be there. Because I know in Christianity, one of the vows is through thick and thin or something like that.
Yeah, through thick and thin.
Yeah.
Through
So
sickness and in health.
yeah, something like
So
that. Yeah. Forgive me, I'm not that
nah,
religious.
nah, it's good, it's good, it's good. I don't blame you. Some of these
Okay, so
people don't
so
know that.
anyway, you look at that. Life's a roller coaster. I mean, I don't know if you know the song that there's a song, I forgot the name, goodness. It has Drake, Eminem, Kanye West, and Lil Wayne.
Oh, I know that song. I know that
You know
song. I know
exactly
that
what I'm
song. I
talking
know
about.
that song. Yeah, yeah,
I just
yeah, yeah,
remember,
yeah.
you know, Lil Wayne's line, life is such a roller coaster, then it dropped.
No, but the
Something
thing
like that.
is, I know
Speaks about
I only
roller
know the
coaster.
chorus of the song. I don't know the whole song. Yeah.
Yeah, so anyway, I like that line because that's how it is. Life's a roller coaster. Or it's like a box of chocolates, if you
My
get the
God.
reference.
Yeah,
So,
I
so
do. I do.
you need somebody there to be with you. So the responsibility should be you shouldn't demand being treated like a queen if you're a girl, and you shouldn't demand being treated like a king if you're a boy or if you're a man. It should come naturally through your actions. You should prove you deserve that. And that's where I think it's important for us to raise young men and to make them understand that. For example, I was raised that you must treat every woman or girl as if they're your sister or your mother. There should only be one girl you don't treat like.
Oh wow.
Do you know who that is?
Yeah, but of course.
Your significant other.
Yeah.
It's the only time.
We've been raised
So like
differently.
I'll just use an example.
We've
We
been
used
raised
to there's
differently.
my family. Sorry.
Yeah,
So
it's
this is
good.
an
It's good.
example. So um, my family in Durban, they have a maid.
Yeah.
So when I was raised, I was taught that anybody elder than you refer to them as either uncle or auntie. I know, very typical Indian stuff. Okay, so if I'm referring to a gentleman, I say uncle
Yeah.
this. Referring to ladies, auntie this. And you won't believe how much just calling this domestic worker, I won't mention a name, just calling her auntie makes life. She goes the extra mile sometimes for us when we go stay over there. So just a little bit of respect can get you a long way.
The
So
thing,
I just
okay,
wanted to,
let
so I
me
just wanted
wait,
to,
wait, let me ask you
okay,
about that, right? Let
yeah,
me. You said respect, right?
yeah.
Let's say, for instance, Hitler walked past you. He bumps into you. He says sorry. How are you gonna react?
Do I know what he's done?
It's Hitler. Everyone knows what he's done.
Okay, so stop me at that time.
He
I can't
bumps
respect a
into
man who
you.
doesn't deserve respect.
He bumps into you. He says sorry. I apologize for bumping into you. What will you do?
So the thing is, he's being respectful.
Exactly. What will you do? What will you do, bro?
I'll tell him no problem.
Thank you.
You know
Thank you.
why? Because
And
then
there
if he
you
bumped
you
into me
exactly.
and he didn't say it and I got angry, then I'd be justified. But if he apologized, come on. Like, why
Exactly.
you have to use that man?
Because I'm trying to make a point here.
Yeah,
If you need to give respect in order
and
to
who
earn
knows?
respect.
And who knows? Maybe he does that. He says sorry or whatever, and I tell him no problem, it's fine. That may have even changed his outlook on how he treats other races. Imagine that. Next thing you change the whole history.
Exactly my point. Exactly my point. Well, the way I was raised when it comes to respect, right? Your respect is earned, not
Not
given.
given. Yes.
And if someone hits you without apologizing, you hit them back.
Ooh,
Sorry,
exactly.
that's the way I've been raised.
Right. Even
He
my
hits you,
primary
you
school
hit him
teacher
back.
still tells us
Sorry.
that. Even my primary
Say
school
again.
teacher does that.
Exactly.
She's like, you should treat everybody with respect unless they don't deserve it. Basically, that means they disrespect you or somebody close to you.
Hmm.
And it's not an open invitation to go get into any fight now. People don't quote us and now go get in a fight. Please,
No.
this is
No,
funny.
no, no,
Whoever's
no, no,
listening,
no, no,
don't,
no, no, no. I'm done
don't.
thinking. I don't care. I don't care. If someone hits you, hit them back, bro.
Yeah,
Hit them
that's fine.
back.
That's self
Ten
defense.
times harder if you want to, bro.
That's
I'm
self
not saying
defense. That's
kill
self
them.
defense.
I'm not saying kill the person.
Yeah, that's
Just,
self defense.
there's something else. Someone
That's
hits you,
self.
you hit them back.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And bruh.
Another thing that comes
Yeah.
up is what would you do if, let's say, you stay in a complex
Yeah.
and there's a domestic issue happening? It's again
Okay.
violence.
Okay.
Is it you? Do you like? Should you call security, for example, to deal with it,
Hmm.
or should you do something about it?
Call security because it's not my business. It
Good,
will
that
be a
way it's
different
your
story
truth.
if there will be it would be a different story if you were involved and you were yeah if you were involved and us as guys were involved, right?
Yeah,
But if I don't know you and if I don't know the situation, I'll call in the security. This is not
allegedly.
my place or my not my right into get
Yeah.
involved into that
Okay.
situation.
Glad that's cleared up. So
Yeah,
we've spoken
because
about gender-based violence in South Africa. We spoke about respect and how
feminist.
different genders should treat each other with mutual respect. And we also spoke about double standards to an extent. We spoke about modern feminism. Do you think that South Africa needs some form of feminism to protect women in the country?
No, there's two reasons why. There's two
Okay.
reasons why. Number one, things happen because of what happened in the past. And because think about it, if
Yeah.
you raise someone in a way where he's violent, he's he's mentally unstable, he's gonna be like that. So if you raise a woman to be a certain way where she's submissive to everyone, who even the ones that disrespect her, she's gonna be that way, right? But if you raise a woman in a way that she's strong in her morals. She
Mhm.
knows what's right. She knows what's wrong. She stands up for what's right and she stands up for what's wrong, right? If you raise a woman like that, there's no need for feminism in this country. That's the reason one. And number two, our actions speaks louder than words. You can't tell me that a guy slept with you yesterday and he's not calling you back, right? And yet you still have the audacity to call him saying, hey, what's up, this, that, and he's still treating you like shit.
Exactly.
If you know what I mean. Yeah, exactly. So those are the two
You
reasons why I don't think we don't need that in
okay?
South Africa
So
because
you
it
just
will be
spoke
just
about
be
raising a strong woman and all of that.
yeah.
That's basically what the old school feminism was.
They're not wrong. They're not
They're not
wrong.
wrong, exactly.
They're
That's
not
why.
wrong.
That's why even um, when it comes to liberalism, I reject the modern liberalism. I
Yeah,
embrace the
tell me about
classical
this.
one, which is basically everybody deserves to be treated equally under the law. When it comes to economic freedom, that's your own choice. If you want to do well in school, get a good job, you can do that. If you want to be an entrepreneur, you can learn to do that, do that. Not everybody will ever
Yeah,
be
but
economically equal.
yeah, but
But
that's the thing.
as much as legislatively possible, the government has a responsibility to ensure people are able to become more economically free.
Hey, but
So anyway,
India and
enough about that.
this is the real life. So this
Yeah,
is the real life. In no, this
it's
by the
not a
time that
utopia.
happens, we in the grave.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I wanted to also speak a little bit about. You said something about raising girls to be strong and have good morals.
yeah.
Um, what type of morals do you think they should be raised with?
Look, I have a sister, right, and I have a
Mhm.
mother. I look up to my mother in a way. I look up to my parents, right,
Yeah.
which every child should do,
Yes.
depending on the situation. But I'm gonna be honest with you. Oh, they just need three morals in their life. Be
Okay.
submissive to the guy they trust, to the guy they look up to the guy that knows that they know they're gonna secure a future for them in the future. Okay. Number two, the second moral is do not trust everybody. Do not trust everybody. Because that's what every girl does, in my opinion. They trust everyone and then they just get screwed over by the time they done with it. And this one is very, very, very important.
Okay.
This is very important. Respect others the way you want to be respected. I feel like if they have those three models, I'm fine. I'm happy with my life.
Okay. Another thing I wanted to point out, you were saying that
Ah,
if
no, 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 no,
a
no, no.
woman,
Don't ask me the. No, no, no. It's your turn. What do you think girls should have models? What do
oh
you
no, no,
think girls should have
I'll
models in their
elaborate
life?
on something. So,
Yeah, yeah.
no, there's a saying, bad, something about bad boys that get the girl and nice guys finish last.
Hmm? I have
And
a few comments on that, but
it's
yeah, you
very,
were
very
saying.
big in the feminist world. Like when you see all these interviews, these anti-feminist women do a lot of the times on the
Hmm?
internet. They always ask, do you prefer bad boys or nice girls or nice guys?
Yeah,
And most of the younger girls will say, I want a bad boy. So in my question, the question that arises then, if you want a bad boy, why blame all men when the bad boy treats you
exactly,
badly?
exactly,
Do you think that could also be another
exactly.
model?
But that's where the other model comes in, isn't it? Do not trust everybody. Do
Okay.
not trust everybody. That's that like because let's be honest, yeah, you can have a nice guy, right? But in my opinion, a nice guy like I was a nice guy in primary school and up until grade nine. That was not the life to live, man. That was not the life to live.
You're a nice guy.
I was a
Yeah.
nice guy, bro. I took everyone. I cleaned everyone's shoes. I was stepped over. I was stepped on.
Yeah.
I was walked over. Let me just say
Yeah.
that.
That's
I
what you
was
shouldn't be.
walked
You can
over on.
be a nice guy. I don't like using
Yeah,
that word. I should rather be a gentleman.
there you go. You can be a
Treat everybody
gentleman.
with respect. Do whatever you can for people if you want to help them. But if they're gonna walk over you, kick them to the curb like they're a piece of garbage in Durban.
exactly. But yeah,
Okay,
that's oh,
and leave that.
it's,
I'll use some examples of me from primary school.
mm,
In not primary school, actually high school. In high school, I was the quiet kid,
yeah.
not to be mistaken for the quiet kid in America. I was more tame. So
Yeah, it's the total opposite. It's the total
I
opposite.
had a lot of friends and stuff, and a lot of the time these friends would bully me, but I still kept the friendship going. And I was very introverted, very quiet, and like that all time and time again. I'm like, you know what? Not, you know, I was raised with morals, and I was raised that you don't stand down if someone's insulting you. You either leave the thing or first they're gonna stop. You know, most of my stories about when I first started flying. So that's
Nah.
where
Well,
I
yeah,
started
the thing is,
maturing
yeah.
myself. And that's where I started looking at like, no, don't be this very nice guy. Be a gentleman. Treat people with respect. Don't be like, oh, I'm being nice just for the sake of being nice.
At what grade did you realize that?
Grade 9.
Grade nine. Okay.
Took me
Okay.
one
For
whole
me,
year.
right? It, I was a nice guy in primary school up until grade nine. Grade 10 and 11, I was what these niggas call I was a boy, bro. I was a fuck boy. But then
That was me.
grade 12 came, and then I just realized that having, I'm not saying I have bodies, don't get me wrong, guys, but having bodies, like, you guys know what I mean. Having bodies is not, or body count is not a thing you should be proud of, guys.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna be honest with you. It's not a thing you should be proud of. Because having a body count just basically means that you've been through this amount of vagina in your life, and that amount of vagina won't satisfy you because there is something in your life that is missing. I don't. This might sound a little bit weird, but still, man,
Yeah, yeah.
that's the
No,
way I feel.
I don't believe in
That's
that.
the way I feel.
I
Having a
say,
body count
listen,
is that is. Ugh, man.
up my
I'm not
religion,
saying
but
it's. I'm not
yeah,
saying it's wrong, but hey, having a body count in my eyes is
yeah,
not the way to live, man. Not the way to live.
yeah. And again, modern feminism pushes that. So anyway, man, thanks for being here. Thanks for having the
Nah,
discussion with me. I hope to the
anytime, man.
viewers that we have said something which is an eye opener, or you have learned something, or
Mm.
anything like that. So thanks for listening and enjoy the rest of your day.